We got Heather Boyce here, the new owner of Cottage Speedway. How are you doing, Heather?
Good, how are you?
How do you feel being a new track owner now?
It's pretty exciting. It's definitely the next step and something I really love. I'm passionate about this. I love Cottage Grove Speedway, and I'm happy that I get to continue my career there.
And then just me knowing a little bit about you, you used to manage a track for many years too.
I did. I managed Cottage Grove for Jerry Schramm for a few years, and then I leased it from him for 4, and then we just kind of came up with this new agreement for me to purchase it from him.
You did right before you managed a track. You led some organizations too, as far as sprint car racing or karts or whatever.
I've worked with Brian Crockett with the 2 different sprint car series, the Western Sprint Tour, which used to be NST. It's been a couple things in between that, and then the ISCS series. And then I ran go-karts for years and years and years before that.
And you've been manager for a little while. What made you want to own the track right now?
It just seemed like the next step. I leased it for Jerry for a few years, and it's going to be nice to be able to have that ownership and know that I'll be there long term and not have to worry from year to year what's going to happen, and just be able to keep moving forward with it.
And with you owning it right now, what do you have in mind as far as when you own it right now? What you can do right now as opposed to when you just leased the track and managed it?
No, there's not a lot that will really change because I have leased it the last 4 years and ran it as my own for that time. So there's not a lot that's really going to change as far as the day-to-day operation of the races. It's more just the things that we can build on, knowing that we're going to be there and be able to move forward and keep things trucking along.
How long did you have to negotiate on the track, and then when you got it, was it just really quick, or
it was a fairly
years?
Quick process.
Okay.
I didn't really, it had been kind of a back of the mind thought for a little while, purchasing the track, but I didn't know if it was ever really going to work out, and Jerry brought the offer to try to make a deal happen, and once that was in the works, it was pretty quick.
And then now about the schedule. I know you're a big sprint car fan.
I'm a big racing fan.
A racing fan too. Okay, racing fan. I see the Western Sprint Tours on the track of all the days, right?
We're not exactly sure. We're still waiting to hear from some of the tracks. There will for sure be a day at Coos Bay.
Okay.
Wairika opted to do something different this year, which is totally fine. We work really well with Kevin down there. But Drake's going to have a race at Coos Bay. We're still kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with the other 2 tracks. Whatever days are not at other tracks will be at Cottage Grove. So there will definitely be a couple extra days at Cottage Grove, and we're really excited about that. But we also like to go hit those other tracks. It's a lot of fun to travel around a little.
And when you make the schedule, how long does it take you to make the schedule? From the first week until the last week.
Yeah.
How do you know what classes to put on each week and all this?
Some of it is just trial and error from year to year. We keep pretty good records of what works and what doesn't. And then there's promoter meetings that we go to, and we meet with all the other promoters and find out when their events are and when ours, what we can work with and against on people. There's certain things that on a weekly show, you're just going to run the same classes as other tracks. There's no way around that. But we try to work with a lot of the promoters on big events and take certain classes off for a week or 2 here and there. But you do have to run your core classes pretty much every week. So it's not an easy thing. And I know that's always a question. Well, how come you're running against this or that? And it's just, there's certain things we can do and certain things we can't. And the schedule's definitely a big process. We start working on it pretty early, and it's not finalized until fairly late. So.
And then what month you work on it? November time?
We really start outlining a schedule in October. Those promoter meetings start in November and December, and so we like to have an idea of what we're doing before we go to those, and then we can meet with the different groups and tracks and kind of do some tweaking and then try to get it out as quickly as possible.
And so when you go to these workshops, Warpa, Reno, and all that stuff, I know you probably learn something each and every time you go.
Absolutely.
What's I know things maybe not will work for one track and not for others because of the location of the track, people around it, all that stuff. What have you found out about Grove that will work for Grove, and you're implementing it?
Oh, there's a lot of things. Like I said, I definitely learn something new every year, and other tracks have great ideas, and we like to try all different stuff. So if you look at our schedule, there's all these different nights that happen, and those were not all my idea. Those are things that other tracks have done, or we've done things that then other tracks try. It's just kind of a collaboration. Most of us are far enough apart that we can do the same things, and fans don't realize that it's the same. Every track has a ladies' night because they just go to their home track. And one of the biggest ones that we've learned about and done was Tommy Estes does a driver appreciation, and then Nikki Gamble did it at Jerry's tracks, and then we started doing it, and that thing has really just taken off and been huge. So that's probably one of the better, but you learn something at every one of those, and every time you talk to another promoter, you can learn something.
And then when you manage track on a track, as far as when you have a class on the schedule, say you have 5 or 4 classes on the schedule for that night, you're looking for those vehicles to show up, for the fans to have a good show. You don't want just 3 cars showing up or something like that. I know you look each and every night after every night, and you know how many cars showed up or whatever. You have a mental note. Hey, there's not too many cars show up this time. We'll try next time, but if it doesn't go well, maybe we might lessen the classes for next year or whatever.
Yeah, and unfortunately that does happen. There are classes that the car count just continues to dwindle, and you try your best to keep those classes around as long as possible. But we're pretty fortunate at Cottage Grove. Most all of our classes have a really strong car count every week. Local cars show up every single week to race, and then for our bigger events, like I said, we try to schedule around other tracks so that we can get even more cars. But I'm pretty lucky to have some pretty great car counts.
I've been to Grove a few times, even though I live up north in Washington. I found that to be one of the best racetracks around as far as racing wise. I mean, you got the bottom groove, top groove, all that stuff. I don't like, and most fans don't like, just one groove racing, but I find Grove to be multiple grooves every night that I've been there. How does that work out with your track and other tracks? Maybe it doesn't happen that way.
A lot of it is the material and that kind of thing. I know other tracks are kind of limited on what they have. We are very fortunate that we have Brian Crockett, who is amazing at what he does with that track, and he makes it racy every week. And if it's not perfect, he beats himself up, and everybody else is going, that was the best track we've raced on in a month. But he definitely does a phenomenal job with the track, and that's all him. I don't do anything with the track. I wouldn't even know where to begin. But he works really hard and gives everybody an absolutely wonderful track every week. So we're really lucky to have him.
Every time I've been there, the fans in the stands seem to be very high. And what do you do? I mean, you read so many articles, go on the internet, a lot of tracks around the nation. It's not that way maybe. But what do you do to try to get the average fan to come out, kids or whatever? How do you get the word out?
Social media is a lot. Radio advertising is a lot. We have most every night has some sort of a gimmick. If it's kids' night, if it's ladies' night, if it's dad's night, mom's night, and that really attracts that specific group. And then you hope to have them come back because they had such a great time. So we try to make sure that there's no downtime. We keep the races running as smoothly as possible. And when there is downtime for things like track prep or cautions or something, we try to have fun little games or trivia or giveaways or something that keeps them pretty entertained all the time so that they have a good time and want to come back next week.
Okay. Every year for the last how many years you have a Malicious Mox Truck Tour?
Yes.
Bill and Lorna Payne with his crew, his whole team. What made you want to book them, install them on your schedule?
They're phenomenal. I joke with Bill all the time that I'm so bored on his nights because I don't have anything to do. They come in and they take care of everything, and It's a great show. I've seen different monster truck shows. I feel like they put on the very best one. Their trucks are always running and maintained. You don't have to worry about breakdowns and only a couple trucks. They are so professional and easy to work with. So after we had them once, I'm sold. They are coming back every year.
Initially, right before you booked them some years ago, what was your main concern? Maybe you mentioned a lot of that stuff. And then afterwards, you saw their work, their craft, everything. How do you feel about that? I mean,
well, we hadn't had monster trucks for a couple years at Cottage Grove, and some of the shows, every show's a little different. But this group, yeah, like I said, they came in with enough trucks to put on a great show. All the trucks kept running. We didn't have to worry about only having one or two trucks, and the fans love it. It's a really entertaining show. They do such a good job. It's definitely a different demographic. So it's a whole different group of people coming out to the track and seeing kind of what we do. They just do such great work that they make my life really easy for that weekend.
And the fans are entertained for the good show. I know you want to bring new fans, like you said, to the track, to have them acclimated to the track, and maybe they want to show up when you have races there. Is that one of the goals too?
Yeah, for sure. The way that it works, we can't run races in conjunction with the monster trucks because they use the track for their show. So there's jumps built and stuff, but they definitely can see kind of what we do just based on what the arena has in it. So we're hoping that it brings people back to see what a race has.
And we're going to end it right now. Would you like to share anything more, Heather?
I think you've covered a lot of it. I'm just really excited for this season and hope to see everybody out there. We're going to have a great time and some amazing races.
Okay. Appreciate your time, Heather.
Yeah, thank you.